ॐ ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोर्श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नामिने गौरत्विषे नमः। पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जन्माद्यस्य तोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्थेषु भिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्म हृदय आदिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, 14th chapter, beginning from verse number 17. Maitreya is continuing to describe the dialogue between Diti and Kashyapa. Diti has approached her husband, sage Kashyapa, for physical union to get a child, and Kashyapa was not willing because of the inappropriate time. So when she requested, then Kashyapa said that yes, I will fulfill your desire, because this is the responsibility, and all my purusharthas of dharma, artha, kama are fulfilled only because of you. And then he continues speaking in the same manner and explaining the importance of household life. Because usually people think that household life is inferior and sannyas or renounced order is superior. But Kashyapa is saying that household is more important. So he says, Sarva ashraman upadaya swashramena kalatravan vyasnarnavam atyeti jalyanair yatharnavam. Says that household life, this grihastha ashram, is the shelter of all ashramas. Because it is grihastha ashram which supports brahmacharya ashram, vanprastha ashram and sannyasa ashram. Brahmacharis, vanprasthis and sannyasis, they don't make any money. They don't work. They live on the support of grihastha ashram. So therefore it says sarva ashraman upadaya, that it does welfare to all the ashramas. Swashramena kalatravan, a person who has wife by his own ashrama, he is doing welfare to others, and Vyasana Arnavam Atyati, he transcends the ocean of material miseries or problems. Jalayanair Atharnavam Yatharnavam, just as one crosses an ocean by ship. So he says that household ashram is like a ship. You ride on it and you cross over the ocean of material world. Other ashrams don't have this ship. They are trying to cross by swimming. So imagine someone trying to cross the ocean by swimming and somebody is going in a ship. So which is easier. And this ship fellow is also feeding. These guys are swimming. Brahmacharis, Vanaprasthas and Sannyasis. And householder is going in a ship and then he's throwing bread to them once in a while. That okay, you can have bread and keep on swimming. Right, Pradeep? Because that's what he's saying. He's doing welfare to everyone. So that means this is easy life in comparison to the others. So Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also says Swa ashraman iti chaturopi ashraman annadi danena krishchataras tariyan swayam tarati. He says that he supplies food to all the ashramas. Actually he supplies food even to the householders, because there are many householders like Brahmanas, they are married, but they also depend on other householders. So therefore it says Chaturopi Ashrama. By giving food, clothes, shelter, etc., he makes them transcend the difficulties of the material life. So people who are suffering hunger, thirst, misery, somebody falls sick, then he gives them help. Or if someone is swimming and then some big fish comes, then he can help them to cross it. So therefore he is saying that this is very important. Yamahur atmano hi artha shreyas kamasya manini yasyam swadhuram adhyasya pumansyarti vijvaraha. And he says that wife is called the half of the self. Wife is called Ardhangini, or one half of the husband. Husband is not complete without wife. It's only one half. So therefore he says Yamahur Atmano hi Ardham. And even in the Shruti there is a statement that wife is the half. And Shreyas Kamasya Manini. So he is calling her as Manini, or honorable one. So he says that a person who is looking for Shreyas Kam, or who is looking for welfare, for him wife is the half. And Yasyam Swadhuram Adhyasya Pumansharti Vijvara. Why? Because a person travels, goes out, and he leaves all the household responsibilities on the head of the wife and remains free from the anxiety that what will happen. So therefore she is very important. So relegating all the responsibilities to the wife, Pumans Charti Vijvara. Man goes here and there without any worry. Otherwise, if he is alone, then he will be worrying what will happen in the house. Somebody can steal, thieves can come. Or if there is a dog, then he has to make arrangement for the dog. Right? People keep dog, they have to go somewhere, it's a big problem. Who will feed them? And in India you have cows. So if you have to go somewhere, you have to make arrangement who will feed the cows. So all these arrangements have to be done if wife is not there, and still there is anxiety. But if wife is at home, then there is no worry. So therefore he said that, how can I disregard your request? You are so important for me. So yam striyam atmano dehasya ardham. Wife is considered as half of the body, and also she was born like that. Not that she was born from the rib. She was the half of Brahma, because one half became man, other half became woman. So she is complete half, not less in any sense. So that's why she is called Ardhangini, and that's why we have Ardhanarishwar form of Shiva, to show this half male, half female. So without wife, man is incomplete. Just like when you have an object. So in the object, there is object and there is a quality of the object. If you have, say, white lotus flower. So there is a lotus flower which is the object, and white is the color. Now one half and one half, they combine together, make the white lotus. Without whiteness, what will be lotus? Can you imagine the lotus without white color, without any color? You cannot imagine. And can you imagine color just hanging without any object? No. So they make the object complete together. One is Visheshan, other is Vishesha. One is the attribute and other is the attributed. So that's why they are complementary. So Ardho va esha yat patni iti shrute. In the Vedas also said that wife is the half. Swadhuram drishta drishta karma bharam. And he leaves his burden on wife, whether something visible or invisible. And then he travels. Yamashritya indriyaratin durjayan nitarashramaihi vayam jaye mehelabhir dasyun durgapatir yatha. Then he is showing even more importance, that how Grihastha ashram is more important than other ashrams. He says that it is very difficult to control the senses. Very, very difficult. So he says that by taking the shelter of wife, I can cross over, or I can control the senses, which are very difficult to control by other people who are not married. So for an unmarried person, it is so difficult, he says, itana asrame, so difficult to control the senses. But vayam jayeme helabhi, but we conquer the senses very easily. And he gives an example, dasyun durgapatir yatha. Just like a person who is living in a fort, then he can control the dacoits easily. If you are living in the open somewhere and the dacoits come, then what will you do? But if you have a nice fort and you're inside the fort and dacoits come, then close the door and shoot from inside. So they will run away. They cannot cross the wall. So he says that wife is like a fort which protects the man from the attacks of other women. So if he takes shelter of his own wife, then he cannot be disturbed by other women who are like the dacoits for the senses, for the mind. So he says we can easily conquer this problem, which brahmacharis and sannyasis have great difficulty. Because if their mind is disturbed, then what do? They are in problem. If householder's mind is disturbed, he has a wife. And that is not irreligious to have union with wife. So he says that you remain safe, and a married person is also considered as brahmachari or celibate if he has union only with his own wife for procreation. And he is also considered as good as a sannyasi. So he is really glorifying the wife, thinking that maybe she will cool down. So Durgapatir iti dasyavaha khalu durgam ashritya eva janan lunthayanti. Yastu Durgapatis tatra katham prabhavanti. He says the dacoits usually they plunder, they loot by taking shelter of some difficult place. They will hide in the forest area or some route which is narrow and you cannot run away. But if you yourself are Durgapati, Durgam means difficult path or place which is difficult to reach or difficult to escape. But if you are the master of the difficult fort from which no one can escape, then who is going to attack you? Durgatra Vishaya Bhoga Eva. So what is the fort? He says fort is the Vishaya Bhoga or sense enjoyment. Tatra Daivat Patitan Brahmachari Adi Neva Bhranshanti Netu Grishna. So he says that this sense enjoyment, if one falls into it, then people like brahmachari, means celibate people, they fall down, but not a householder. Netu grihasthan tesham bhog visheshasya shastra vihitattvena duradrishta nutpadat. So for them it is allowed to enjoy with their wife, and this does not create any sinful reaction. So he says, therefore, we are safe because of you. Navayam prabhuvastam tam manukartim griheshwari apyayushava kartsnene yechanye gunagridhanavaha. And now this is the height of glorification. Glorification is also an art. If you have to praise somebody, then you have to praise in the limit. If you go out of limit, then the other person will realize that he is now just flattering. Praise should not look like flattery. And excessive praise is criticism. If you praise someone too much, that is as good as criticizing. So now Kashyap is going a little bit outside the limit in his praise. He says that actually it is not possible to repay your debt, the welfare which you have done to me, then I cannot repay it because it is so much. It is like Krishna says to the gopis that even if I live the life of Brahma, I cannot pay your debt, the amount of service and surrender you have done to me. So Kashyapa says that actually this is true for every wife. Husband can never repay for the service the wife does to the husband. Says Navayam Prabhuvastam Tvam Anukartum Griheshwari. Says that the favor you have done to me, then I cannot pay it back, O queen of the house. Api ayusava katsnine yechanye grina gridnava. Says even with my complete life, or if I get the life of everyone or take more births, still I will not be able to pay the favor which you have done to me. And he says this is also the case with other people. not for me. He says, Ye chanye gun gridhanava. And those who are other people having good character, they also cannot pay it back. So he says, we have done so much welfare to you, and even if I bring some ornaments to you or some nice cloth, it is not that I am doing any favor to you. It is only for my sake, because you are my one half. And you are the Griheswari, you are the master of the house. So whatever is available in the house, it is yours and you are giving me. So there is no limit of favors which you have done to me. So Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti says that Tadevam Striyam Ashrityeva Grihastayeva Sukhena Vishayamapi Bhunkte Narkeapi Na Patati. He says that in this way, by taking shelter of a woman, a man, he happily enjoys his senses and also does not go to hell. Usually one enjoys one's senses, then goes to hell. But if one has wife, nice wife, he enjoys sense pleasure and does not go to hell. Natu virakta ityata stam prasiddham. But one who is renounced, that is not the case with him. If he enjoys senses, then he goes to hell. But he is not supposed to enjoy senses. That's why he is called virakta, sannyasi, or renounced. So he says, Ityata stam prasiddham tvam stri jati manukartim pratyutkares tadrishim bhavitum vayam purush jati or na prabhu. So then he says, therefore it is not possible for any human, any man to repay for the service, for the welfare a woman does to the man. Katsnena yad ayustena api. Not even with his complete life. Sampurnena api ayusha. Va shabdat janmantraye. And even word va has been used api ayusha va katsnena. So va means or, which means that even if we take another birth and do nothing except to pay off the debt for the wife, still it is not possible. So much. Ye chanye atithaya gun gridhanavas tad gun grahena pakshe tvamiti ekvachnena vayamiti bahuvachnena api ayusha ityadina cha parihasa. And he says that this is also for the other people. Then he makes one comment that he is using singular for women. Tvam means you. Of course in English you is plural and singular same, but in Sanskrit it is tvam. Tvam means one you, not two you, not three you. So he is using singular for Diti, and for himself he is using plural, Vayam. And then, so that means we are like many and you are one, and still we cannot pay our debt. And with api ayusa, with the whole life. So he says this seems like exaggeration or as if he is joking. Parihasa. Parihasa means saying something jokingly. That you are so great and it's not possible. Athapi kamametam te prajate karmani alam yatha mam nati vochanti muhurtam pratipalaya. So after saying all this, he realized that it had no effect on Diti. Absolutely. So now he comes to the point directly. He says that, yet I will definitely fulfill your desire because you want to have children, but I want to do it in such a way that others will not criticize me. And therefore, hold on for one muhurta. It just passed like 1 hour, and then no problem after that. So that's all he is requesting. So he says that don't think that I am alone in this world, and don't think that I am the only one who knows Shastra. There are other Brahmanas around. He had other brothers, they are all sages, and they are all propagators of Shastra. Like Vasishtha has written Vasishtha Smriti, Atri has written Atri Smriti. They have given moral codes for the society. So what will they say if I do some inappropriate act? I have to also deal with them. So he says, don't do something which will bring infamy to me. So that is the first worry he has. Evam yadapi tvad anukaranam ashakyam tathapi etam kamam prajatyai putrotpatte karanam. So he says that although it is not possible to repay your debt, now this does not mean that now I will not do anything. Suppose somebody has lent you $1 million and you are making few $1,000s per month, and you have your own expenditures, you save like $50 per month. Now you know that for rest of your life you cannot pay $1 million because in a year you are saving $600. And if you work for 50 years, it will be $30,000. It's nothing in comparison to the debt of $1 million. So now what do? Shall you try to pay it off, or you think anyway it is not possible, so why even pay this 30,000? So one is that you do whatever you can do, and another is that because the debt is so big, so now I don't care to pay. So Prajapati Kashyapa, he is saying that although it is not possible to pay your debt, this does not mean that I will not fulfill your desire for children. I will do that. So that is the meaning. That etam kamam prajate putrotpate karmana nanu alam vag vilasena. And then he says, enough of my lecturing, which I have been lecturing. I will stop this. And kal vilambasya dukh sahatvat turnam talpgriham pravisha. The wife is saying that, he is not saying it, is wife which is saying. He says, you are just lecturing me, stop this and come to the point. So don't delay unnecessarily and let's go to the bedroom. So then he says that, please don't do something for which I am criticized. Just wait for one muhurta. That is his request. Now, the wife may think that this guy is just very selfish. He is worried about his status in the society and his name being maligned, people criticizing him. He is not bothered about me, that I am suffering, and he is thinking, well, other sages will criticize me. He says, this is selfishness. So now he comes to the point, saying that it is not that I will be just criticized, but even you will not be happy, because this is a wrong time. So he says, Esha ghortama vela ghoranam ghora darshana charanti yasyam bhutani bhuteshanu charani. Says that this is a terrible time. Ghora means terrible. And only the terrible beings wander in this time, such as ghosts and Bhutesh Anucharani and the servants of Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva has his associates, which are called Bhutas, Pretas, Pishachas, all these hobgoblins, witches, ghosts. They wander in the evening. This is their time. And they look for people whom they can possess. So at this time, if one is acting improperly, then they feel happy to possess that person. So Kashyapa says that if we engage in union at this time, then we are going to attract wrong type of soul to take birth, and therefore we will have terrible children. So please do not do this now and wait for some time. So Nindam Aganayantim Bhishayamana Sri Rudram Anuvarnayati. When Kashyapa realized that it is not making any difference to her, all this thing is saying that I will be criticized and this will happen. So what, you are looking for your own name and fame, who cares for that? So then he starts talking about something more terrible, now trying to scare her. That talks about Rudra or Lord Shiva in 7 verses. Ghoranam bhut pretadinam darshanam yasyam. So this is the time where bhutas and pretas, they wander the earth. Ateva ghoratama ghoranam iti ghora swamika ityartha. So he says, therefore this is a terrible period and terrible people wander in this time, and you should not request such a thing. So this meeting time of day and night, which is called Sandhya, this is not the time for anything like this. At this time one should only sit and meditate, chant, engage in puja, worship, read scripture, chant mantras, do kirtan. That's why in India it was a custom that Sandhya time means Sandhya Arti, Sandhya Puja, Sandhya Vandan, all these various types of things. When there were time of sacrifices, they used to do sacrifices in the Sandhya, Agnihotri. They used to chant Gayatri, Sandhya Vandan. Those who are following the path of bhakti, then they do Sandhya Arti to the Lord. So in India's evening time, Sandhya time means that everybody stops their work and does something religious. This was a custom previously. Of course now it is all forgotten. So that's why you see all the population is becoming like ghosts. They are not bothered about doing wrong things, because such people will take birth then, ghosts and pretas. So now there are no more ghosts remaining, because they have all become human beings. How many ghosts are there? So they already got into human form. Now the world is full of these ghostly beings. Kashyapa was worried about it. Etasyam sadvi sandhyayam bhagavan bhuta bhavanah parito bhuta parashadbhir vishenarthi bhutarat. He says that my dear wife, my dear saintly wife, he's calling her sadhvi, means a saintly wife, says that you should know that in this time, evening time, Lord Shiva, he also goes on a tour. Lord Shiva is meditating whole day, and in the evening time he comes out and he goes on his bull. Vrishena. Vrisha means bull. Bull signifies dharma. Bull is the personification of religion, dharma. So riding on bull, why Shiva has bull as his carrier, means he is the master of dharma, or he moves on dharma. But he is called Bhutarata. He is the king of the Bhutas, Lord Shiva. So obviously when he is going, he is not going alone. He goes with his associates. If Prime Minister or President of a country goes somewhere, he or she does not go alone. There are many people walking with them. Their associates, family people. So Lord Shiva also, when he is going, he says Bhuta Parshadabhi. Then all Parshad means associates surrounding him, and they go doing kirtan of Lord Shiva. So he says that he will curse us if we do anything like this now. So you think of this. So Lord Shiva is also known as the presiding deity of time. That's why he has snakes around him. Because snake signifies time. Snake also signifies death. Right? Kala Sarpa. That means he is the conqueror of death. He is the conqueror of time. Many times you see the snake painting with the tail in the mouth of the snake. So what does this signify? That the tail of the snake is in the mouth means infinite time, because it becomes a cycle. And time has no beginning and no end. So this is a symbolic representation of time. Lord Shiva has Kundal, everything snake. So he is beyond time, he is the master of time. And he is also the person who burnt Cupid. Right? Cupid made a mistake once to trouble Lord Shiva. So Cupid, wherever he goes, he conquers them. So he is very proud, and anybody who is proud, sooner or later his pride falls. Moving this will not change. What changes is this, because the photo is coming to us.
Okay, like this. Something. That's the way it is.
You can leave it.
Yes, that
So he also went to disturb Shiva. And Shiva was meditating. And in his meditation he felt that some change is happening outside. When he opened his eyes, he saw that there was nice music. Somebody was playing disco music. So he says, what is this? In this forest? There is disco music? Then he saw some girls dancing to the tune. So, wow, this is amazing. And then he saw Cupid with the arrows. Then he realized, oh, this guy is. So he opened his third eye. And this guy was burnt, melted into pieces. Because third eye is the eye of knowledge. You are seeing with these two eyes, then you see objects of enjoyment. And then you open the third eye, that means the eye of discrimination, Sankhya. So he opened the Sankhya eye. And then when discrimination is opened, then karma is burnt. Lust is gone, because lust is related with the physical body. So he closed these two eyes and he opened the third one. And he was finished. So Kashyap is saying that, look, this Sandhya is a time. It is the time when Lord Shiva comes out. And Lord Shiva is the one who destroyed Cupid. And you are asking me that I unite with you. That means you want to bless Cupid at this time. Right? Who is enemy of Shiva. So how Shiva will feel? So he says he will be furious. So therefore he says that don't do this now. If you want to listen to me, then be careful. So Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that this 23, he doesn't say much. He says, Et bhutanapi aganantim punarahaitashyam. So first he spoke about his own criticism. Then he spoke about the ghostly beings. And still he realized that no effect on Diti. So finally he goes to a higher. He's trying to scare her. He comes to Lord Shiva that at least she will fear Lord Shiva. And therefore he says that this is the time when Lord Shiva goes around and this act is not proper. And he will be very upset. So he is going on the bull, which means dharma, and you are going to engage in something which is adharma. So it will be very inappropriate. Then he continues further about Shiva. He talks. Smashana chakranil dhuli dhumra vikirna vidyota jataka lapa bhasma vagunthamala rukma deho deva stribhi pashyati devaraste. So he is describing now who is Lord Shiva, in case she has forgotten it. Says that Lord Shiva comes from Smashan. Smashan Chakranil Dhuli Dhumra. Because Lord Shiva is supposed to live in the cremation ground. So, in the cremation ground, he says that there is dust from the whirlwind, and the dust of cremation ground is in the matted hair of Lord Shiva, and therefore Lord Shiva is shining with that, and this ashes from the, because in the cremation ground the bodies are burnt and there are ashes and they fly if there is wind blowing, and that goes into the matted hair of Lord Shiva, and it looks very beautiful. Lord Shiva, who has a golden body, and he has smeared it with the ashes. So he says that he is your Devar. Devar is a word which is used for husband's brother. And he says that he has 3 eyes. So you cannot escape him. In case he thinks that Lord Shiva goes walking but he's not seeing everything, why are you worried? So he says that Devas Tribhi Pashyati Devarasta. He says that he has got 3 eyes. So nobody can escape from him. So he will know. And since he is related to you, then he will become more angry that my own relatives are doing such a thing. If somebody is supposed to guard or protect some principle and his own relatives are breaking the law, then he has to be very strict with them. Otherwise he will be criticized that this person is actually favoring his own people. He is not being strict with them. Only problem is this word Devara, which means husband's brother, is little problematic here. Because Kashyap is a son of Marichi, and Marichi is a son of Brahma, which means that Kashyap is grandson of Brahma, and Lord Shiva is son of Brahma, because we read earlier that when Lord Shiva produced 4 Kumaras and asked them to produce further, they refused and he got angry, and then Shiva was born from his eyebrows, in between of his eyebrows, from his forehead. So Lord Shiva is son of Brahma, and Kashyap's father is brother of Lord Shiva. So in that sense, Shiva is uncle of Kashyap, senior uncle, because he is senior to Kashyap's father. He was born before Marichi was born. So he cannot be called as Devara. He is more like a father-in-law. Because like Marichi is father-in-law of Diti, right? Because he is the husband's father. And Shiva is brother of husband's father, so he is also like father-in-law. But here he is called as brother-in-law, or what we call Devara. Devara is called brother-in-law. Husband's brother is called brother-in-law. What is he called? Brother. Brother-in-law. So he is actually father-in-law, but he is called here as brother-in-law. So there is little bit of problem here. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur will explain this. Tarhi tatsammukha tvam tatsammukhatvamatram varjaniyam iti chet. So if Diti says that, all right, I understand that Lord Shiva is going on a tour in the evening, so just avoid him. You don't have to come in front of him. So then he says, Smasaneyas chakra nilaya vatamandali tatra dhuli dhumra vikirno vikshipto vidyoto dyuti manjata sumo yasya bhasmana guntha avarnam yasya tatha bhuto amala swarnaveddeho yasya sa devas tribhi somakargini netri pashyati tu etad aparad phalam saddeva seno dasyati. So then he describes Lord Shiva, explaining his matted hair, how they are beautiful by the dust raised by the wind in the cremation ground, and how his beautiful body, which is golden, which signifies pure, is covered with the ashes. He says he has 3 eyes, and these 3 eyes signify sun, moon and fire. So daytime he sees everything because sun is there. At night he sees because moon is there, and if both are not there, then fire is there, which means that nothing is invisible to him. And if you make this act of offense, then immediately you will get the result. Sadyeva sono dasyati. Sachate na nisambandho napi aparichita chet. Ityaha deva. And it is not that he does not recognize you or he has no relationship with you. He is your brother-in-law. He says. So why brother-in-law? So he says, Ekasya jamatarah parasparam bhratro vyavariyante. Now there is another relationship. One relationship is from the side of Brahma, that Kashyap is Brahma's grandson and Shiva is son. So they cannot, Shiva cannot be brother-in-law. But if you see from the side of Diti, Diti's sister was married to Shiva. So Diti and her sister Sati, they have husband as Kashyap and Shiva. So sister's husband is also treated like brother-in-law. Sister's husband. Because now they are on the same level. From the side of Brahma, their level is one up and one down. But if you see from Diti's side, then they are on the same level. That means if you see from Daksha's side, means Diti's father's side, then Shiva and Kashyapa, they are what we call son-in-law. Both are son-in-law. Shiva is a son-in-law of Daksha and Kashyapa is a son-in-law of Daksha. So if both are son-in-law, they are like brothers. If you see from Kashyap's father's side, then Kashyap's father and Shiva, they are brothers. So he cannot be called as a brother-in-law. But if you say from Diti's father's side, then they are like brothers. So therefore the word Devara is used here. Ekasya jamatara parasparam bhratro vyavrinte ato mam bhrata asau tav devara iti tvam va katham na lajjasa iti bhava. So therefore Kashyap is saying that, are you not ashamed to know that Shiva, who is my brother, is also your Devara, and he will see this, then what a shameful situation it will be for us. If he was some unknown person, that is another thing, but he is our family person. So therefore, we should wait. See the logic is given.
So Shiva rides on Nandi, who is religion, and he has all these putas and all these creatures with him. It's like an incompatible situation. If he rides on religion and has all these ghosts with him, then you would rather assume that he has like angels with him when he goes with religion on a tour. And not with all these weird characters.
Because he is merciful, he is giving shelter to the ghosts whom no one likes.
These ghosts are symbolic of something though?
And he is renounced. So he goes and lives in the cremation ground. Means, although he is supposed to be the husband of Durga, who is in charge of this material world, but he is living. He has one old bull and lives in the cremation ground. Makes no house for himself. That's why the question was asked by Parikshit Maharaj to Sukdev that Shiva, he is so renounced that he does not have a house, has no possessions. One old bull is there with him. Not even 2 bulls, but his devotees are very opulent, like Banasura, Ravana, so many. And Lord Vishnu is the husband of Lakshmi. Lakshmi means goddess of wealth, and his devotees are usually poor. like Sudama, struggling for one meal, or Vidura, all this. So he says, what is this discrepancy? One who has wealth, his devotees are poor. One who is renounced, his devotees are rich. So then of course answer is given that our Lord does not want to give this wealth to his devotees so that they become entangled. He wants them to be renounced. And Shiva's devotees, they are having wealth, but look what they do with it. They even attack Shiva himself.
This is again this controversial nature of Shiva that on one hand he is like protector of those with religion and sees everything and so on, and then again those who worship him, they really, I don't know, he has all these ghosts and
That's also because he represents Tamagu.
Yeah, because he is also in charge of tamas.
so one has to see it in the way that he is the most merciful in a way, because he knows the real truth of everything, and therefore he is the most merciful, and even takes with him those creatures who nobody else wants to associate with.
And that is his mercy on them. But those who are tamasic type of people, they become attracted to him because he lives like that. And this way he also elevates their consciousness. He's living in an unclean place and he's with unclean people. So naturally those who are tamasic type, they become attracted to him. And this way he brings them, but he himself is a Vaishnava.
So one could say that if he is already that much merciful to the most, tamasic or the most dark creatures, then how much more merciful must he be to those who are first class?
Yeah, of course. He's very happy with Vaishnavas.
And still the Vaishnavas are poor.
Yeah, because
What kind of poor are we talking?
poverty, material wealth is not a sign of being devotee or devotion. Purpose is not, the greatness is not measured in terms of wealth. The real wealth is devotion.
So then would you say that Shiva's grace on the Vaishnavas is that he grants them some particular kind of protection from worldliness?
Well, if they approach him, but usually Vaishnavas don't approach him.
And they have not really any need to approach.
Well, there's no need. And they respect him. There's no need to worship him and approach him for anything. Because they're worshipping Vishnu, so what is the need to approach him?
And some say, of course, that he incarnated as Hanuman, Shiva.
Yeah, he's a devotee.
These ghosts, are they, I don't know, symbolic of anything? Or maybe even just what is the definition of ghost? I mean, the traditional one.
Symbolic of tamasic people.
Okay.
But let's say in the case of Sri Vaishnavas, they are really kind of antagonistic to Shiva.
Turn it off.
Well, that is because of their specific history. Ramanujacharya was troubled by a Shaivite king. So they have taken it towards Lord Shiva. Actually, Lord Shiva has nothing to do with it. It's more sentiment. It's not something philosophical.
And then you have the other side that Shiva wants to, be part of the Ras Leela and has to become a gopi.
Yes. He also is supposed to be the protector of Dham,
Yeah.
Bhuteshwar Mahadev. Because he's a devotee. So he does service in different ways.
So although he has this retinue of tamasic creatures,
Yeah, obviously he's not entering in Ras Leela with tamasic creatures.
still he protects the Dham from such
Yes.
creatures.
So he's probably
Very interesting. You also mentioned that Shiva is time.
No, he's like in charge of time.
He's in charge of time. So
Material, not time. Time is
Krishna
energy
says
of
time I
Krishna.
am. So,
Time is energy of Krishna.
but he is kind of in charge. What does that mean?
The CEO.
Just like Durga is in charge of material nature.
Hmm.
Although ultimately material nature is also energy of Krishna.
Hmm.
So in that sense, they are the deities.
You were explaining how the wife is half of the husband, right? So the explanation was in positive terms. The explanation was in positive terms, right? But then in Chaitanya Charitamrita, I forget her name, was it Malini?
Madhavi.
Madhavi, yes. She's described as half a person, which comes across kind of negative.
Maybe because her husband was dead, so she remained half.
Oh, is that it?
Otherwise, how is it really half? Because if the husband is dead, then one half is gone, one half is remaining. So how is it negative?
Okay, no, I've only heard it in negative terms, that's why I'm asking you.
If she's negative, how she can be associate of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu?
No, I'm not saying she's negative. I've only heard this explained in negative terms that, woman.
Yeah, because this they don't understand. Understanding is this only, because woman is considered as half of man. So if you are counting her, they say it's half in that sense. Now
And
whether you
so-
take it negative or positive, I don't know in what sense you take.
So Madhavi was a widow. Is that
Yeah.
right? Okay. Okay, that's very good. And also in this vein, Kashyapa was
Because they are not counting other women as half. There are also many other women.
yes. Kashyapa was describing how the wife is the fortress for the senses of the husband.
Yes.
So now that's speaking from the male point of view. But does it also works, I'm assuming, so I want to confirm it, that it also works the other way around.
In both ways.
Yes. Okay. And another question. question is
But
that
because this Vedic society was, you can say, what is it called, patriarch society? So things are described more from male point of view.
yeah, that comes across strongly in the Shastras.
Yeah. But this is not to be taken as something relegating women to a corner. That is a misinterpretation.
Yeah.
It is because Manu, or the originator of Vedic culture, they realized the nature of women. And they understood that women cannot live independently. If she lives independently, she will be exploited. Now you may make all this theory because women did not go out and men went out, therefore he developed muscles, and women did not develop muscle, and therefore she is physically weak and man is this man. It's nothing like to do. Their hormones are like that. Even if they do whatever they do, man and woman, they have different body, different hormone system, and therefore different nature. They are designed like that. They have a different purpose. A woman is supposed to give birth to a child and not man. And if she has to give birth to a child, she needs a different mindset,
So hormones.
which is not there in the man. A man cannot take care of a child. He will go crazy in 5 minutes. Yeah. He will throw the baby and kill the baby. It's nonsense. Just enough of this rascaldom, stop now. They cannot tolerate this crying. But women can take that.
Very much so.
I have told that joke of Albert. You remember the Albert joke? This one man is outside a mall in New Jersey. And he has a small baby in the, what is it called, pram? Pram. So he is pushing it and going around, and this baby is crying. So he is saying, Albert, keep quiet. Albert, keep quiet. And he is very patient. But the baby is going on crying and crying. So there was one lady who also came out from the shopping, and she heard him because he is going to his car. Baby and she also followed. Her car was also parked next to this man's car. So he heard that how this man is very patiently taking the baby. So you know how women, they like children. So she came to the pram and she bent down and she was saying, oh, why are you crying? Albert, why are you crying? What is bothering you, Albert? So this man said that, no, he is not Albert, I am Albert. He was keeping his mind quiet. Albert, keep quiet. Because otherwise he gets mad, he will slap this baby. So, very different. The amount of pain which woman takes and still she gives birth to a child, and after giving once, she can do it again. No man will do it. No man will ever do it. He will be finished if he has to go through this pain once. He says, hell with it. I'm not mental. But see, women can do once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. So therefore, how the spiritual life, so therefore they also realize that in the varnashram system there is a sannyas. And if a woman takes sannyas, then how she will maintain it? If you see the principle of sannyas, that they have to travel from one place to another place, they can only beg in 8 houses and they should not stay in one place more than 3 days, this, that. It will be hell for a woman. Woman is not like this. So therefore they made women along with men that she will get her perfection only by being with a woman and performing her duties.
She will get her perfection by being with a woman.
With a man, as a wife. So this was not to think that women are less qualified or they don't have. They say that okay, the purpose is to realize yourself. But the process is different for both. Now women think that if a man is doing something and woman is not doing that, then we are less. So therefore they started this whole thing, women liberation. So women liberation means imitating the man. It is not liberating a woman. Their focus is that we should imitate man. If man is flying planes, we should also fly planes. If man is going into the army, we should also join the army. This is not liberation. Okay, you have equal legal rights, that I understand, but the purpose is not to do what man is doing. That means then you have an inferiority complex. Inferiority complex means now I want to do what the other guy is doing, otherwise I am less than him. No, you be what you are, and why do you feel inferior? So therefore in Vedic culture, different duty, different lifestyle for man and woman and different description. And that is appropriate. Because of nature it is described like that.
The idea that women want to do what the men are doing, that is a mistake. Because what you were just speaking about, that the woman wanting to do what men are doing, that is a mistake because it does go against their nature.
Yes.
Right. But at the same time, from what I know about the history of the development and the beginning of women's liberation, it came more out of being too much exploited and having to stand
I'm not
up
saying that
and
women
fight.
are not exploited.
Yeah.
Women were exploited, and it is again nature of human being that anybody who is strong will exploit the weak.
The weaker, yeah.
Whoever is. Woman will also exploit man if she is strong than man. They also do it.
Yeah.
There is association of husbands in India who are troubled by their wives. I don't think that wives don't exploit husbands. They also make their husband's life hell in their own way.
Sometimes they're physically abusive even.
They even abuse physically.
Yeah.
So that is different. My point is that liberation does not mean imitating or doing what the other is doing, but to recognize their own nature and act accordingly, and of course ask for your rights which you deserve. They should be given. If they are doing the same job, they should also be paid equally. Why not? Why they have to be paid less just because they have a different gender? Or if they are qualified to do some job, why they should not be given that job just because they are women?
I read Mahabharata, and I read the part where Manu was leaving, and this is how I read it and remember it. Manu was leaving, and he understood that by the nature of woman that they needed protection, so he put them under the protection, put them under the protection of men, because that's part of their nature is to give protection. But something like that today, it's hard to see the viability of that today completely, because today the exploitation of women by men is just so chronic. It is just so much and so high that it's hard to accept those kinds of things today when you haven't had the exposure to the real Vedic understanding behind. And
It is not possible.
Yeah, before people they were.
So you cannot apply the principle of one culture into another culture.
Yeah.
It's not possible.
Before
You have
the
to see
Vedic
what is the
times,
situation now and
Yeah.
do what you can in that situation.
Yeah, they were controlled more by duty and
You
But
cannot,
today there's no
cannot,
control.
you cannot bring it back and try to apply that.
No.
Because this is not the only principle. Then if you want to apply, you have to apply the whole system.
Yeah.
But it's good to understand the principle behind it and then see how you can apply it. Not applying rules and regulations, but to understand what is the concept behind that rule and then see how that concept can be used now in this particular situation. That is the best you can do.